The problem is that middle ground where there's those bullshitters who can see your weakness, see that you need something, promise something that they can't deliver, and you feel so because you feel like somebody who you gave your heart to now you over. Yeah. But that's not the case. Yeah, do they ruin it for everyone? Sure, but it's a misconception.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Kinolime podcast. We have today the amazingly talented, super brilliant, and oh my esh, so fashionable, Kaya Moore in the studio. What's up, girl? How you doing?
Good. The list was short. Well, thank you.
I mean, great. Look, if I had to say everything, it would take up the entire time.
True, and we would have to edit it out.
Like people want to hear about producing and like how to make it and all that stuff and all the great tips we got.
Of course. Let's give the crowd what they want.
I gotta be honest, when you came to me with this idea of today's podcast, I immediately loved it.
You did. You did. You were like, boom.
I'm very authentic, as you know. I wear my feelings on my sleeves. You know, if I don't like something. But today we're going to talk about Hollywood misconceptions. Now, why I love that is because there's so many misconceptions about like filmmaking and what it takes to be a writer and how to get in and producing and all this stuff. We're just going to have like a very candid conversation with a dear friend about like the Hollywood misconceptions. We've had different paths in our careers. I on the writing side, Kai on the producing side, Kai's done a whole bunch of other stuff, as do I. But so we're going to give you our different perspective. But Kai, I really value your opinion as always. Personal situations.
You don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice. But I would love to just get into this.
Yeah, let's have fun.
To talk about. So, a Hollywood misconception that
let's talk about it
is the Hollywood versus indie, the divide, right? So there's a misconception in the business that Hollywood hates indies, indie hates Hollywood. What's your thoughts?
I love the misconception of Hollywood versus indie because for me, the biggest misconception is thinking that it's two separate entities when it's really part of the same singular ecosystem. Yeah. It's just that they have just different roles in the ecosystem. So the indie world, right? You start, in a way, it feels like, you know, it's more creative and there's more open doors, but it's just, there's a lot less voices in it in the starting point. So it feels maybe like a bigger open door, but it's all very intertwined. And if you think about it, all of the Hollywood, all of it, have their hands very deep into the indie world because they're there to kind of, you know, see what is going to be out there, what's interesting, what can they take on and what can they magnify. So in the end of the day, really Hollywood is shopping in the indie world, and the indie feels like maybe more open doors, but we're trying to get into the Hollywood kind of frame so they can expand the creativity. So Hollywood doesn't kill creativity and indie doesn't create creativity. It's just that indie is a way for people to have a start in the ecosystem, and Hollywood is a way to kind of take that and expand it, including the creativity.
I love that, and I do feel it's a very yin and yang situation that like they both need each other.
They must. Right? It's an ecosystem.
It's kind of this thing where they have to coexist to feed off each other because it's pushing the filmmaking world together as a whole. You know, you need the indie, you need the Hollywood, whatever that defined as. And they both need to work together. So I really love that you highlighted that because
they do work together. That's what's crazy.
And I get in that headspace. I'm like, Hollywood.
No, but the thing is, though, our motivation is that Hollywood can see it and expand it. Sure. And Hollywood, think about it, they need a lot of content. They want content, so they want people to, but they don't necessarily want to, you know, put their money there unless they know it's something good. So this is their shopping market.
And they're always looking for the great indie director who made that Sundance hit. You know, they're looking for that.
Yes.
To then, you know, corrupt their soul. No, I'm kidding. But you know, to see how
but that's the thing. But that's the thing. Like in the indie, it feels maybe less, but think about it. It's all the same thing. You have a producer who has an opinion, and everything is all a part of it, and all the creatives and the collaborations. Well, defining
indies is that it's independently financed or produced outside of the Hollywood studio system. So instead of like the Warner Brothers, you know, Sony, or soon to be Netflix,
all the big dogs,
all the big dogs.
You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to make something happen, so the big dogs can see it.
I think we need both, and they will never go away. Indies will never go away because people who want to make films don't have the money, so they have to be independent to make their film. And Hollywood will always exist because they have the money to make their own thing, but also need the indie filmmakers to groom and come up to become the filmmakers that they are.
Absolutely. And there's a reason why actors intertwine between the indie and the Hollywood. They want to perform in indie films. They want to perform in Hollywood films. Everybody, that's why. It's all part of one thing. And you have all of the big Hollywood, as you said, Warner Brothers, Fox, whatever it is, they're all set up in every single festival.
I know.
All there. Everyone is trying to pitch and shop. So it's a great ecosystem because it gives actually opportunity and it continues to go up the ladder. It's great.
Misconception number 2.
All right,
if my script is great, Hollywood will find me. So this is one that I chimed in on the list because look, I'm an idealist. I do believe the cream rises to the top if you write a great screenplay. But that's the misconception. You know, it's a hard business to break into. And honestly, seeing my friends be successful writers, there are friends that are fantastic writers, and there are friends that are not so fantastic. And it's like the ones that are working, in my experience, are typically the not so fantastic ones. But they just, whatever it is, the stars align, they're good at what they do.
But here's the thing. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. First of all, you know, we haven't have the Tesla of, you know, film yet. You know, we don't just have like a self-driving, you have to drive your own. It's just the way it works. And in any industry, you can have a good idea, but just no one's going to find you. That's just not how it is. You have to package it. There's nothing you can do about that. It's very important. And which leads very good into the next one, which we'll go into soon, which I love. But it's very important that you make yourself valuable. Because your script might be good, but you're the value to the script. More than the script itself. The script needs to be good.
You are. And two things. One, this is why Kinolime exists, not to plug us, but honestly, like, we are here to find the next great screenplay. Like, because we're in a position to get it made, right? So we're now thinking, hey, in the world of filmmaking or screenwriting, if you do write something great, we will find it, you know, through our competition, but it's not like that everywhere.
But even then, we're telling you you have to go through the competition. You have to be willing to put yourself out there in a certain process. Even if it's great, it's still important. And even in the like, let's just say the leg up form, no matter what, you're always going to have to put yourself in a certain position.
A great executive I worked very closely with, his name's Charlie Johnson, gave me this great piece of advice that fits squarely into this. He said to me that he heard from a producer that he said, John, when I was talking about a screenplay that I wrote, he's like, John, nobody wants to make your movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like, think about it. Like, they don't want to make your movie. Like, they want to make whatever that's already in their slate. You got to make your own movie. You got to push yourself out there. You got to get your screenplay as great or not so great. You have to do the work. Like, you can't just write it, and Hollywood's not going to be knocking.
No one's going to be knocking.
It's very difficult. So
yeah, of course.
It's obviously not meant to be a downer. It just means like you really got to grind to get your stuff out there.
Yeah, important to make a really good script.
Put yourself in a position for success by getting it out there. But it's not just if you write something great, it's not you're done. That's like you're halfway done. You got to keep going.
You're not even halfway done. You're still you're done of the first journey. Part of the journey, if I can say. Which goes really well into the next one, which is committed versus credentials. And I love this one so much because as a producer, this is everything to me. Because I can't even tell you, most of the people that I meet, I mean, listen, it's their world. They know a lot of people. They know a lot of things. They know how a lot of things work. So there's a lot of, you know, you have great conversations and you're like, wow, this person knows so much. But then you realize like what matters most is the relationship, a committed relationship. When I look about with partnerships and anyone that I've ever worked with was, are you willing to get there until the end with me? Which means all the ups and downs. I don't care what happens. I need to know we can make it till the end of this journey together.
So the misconception is that being credentialed is enough, meaning you have your degree, you've been to film school, whatever. That is the misconception that if you have that, you're enough. No. What we're saying is, no, it's the grit, the chutzpah, it's the grind in you to go and get yourself out there. And I got to say, I could speak solely from experience on this. So I'm not the most talented writer. When I started, I wasn't the most. No, I'm being honest here. Like, in my opinion, when I started out, I wasn't the most talented. But how I got consistent work was because I was a grinder. I was the one outworking every writer I knew. I was staying up late. I was writing draft after draft after draft, honing in on my craft.
Yes.
I wasn't trying to say I watched so many movies. I was like, I'm just going to put it on the page. I'm going to bleed on this page and grind as much as possible. So I was able to get a working writer based on that grind alone.
Absolutely.
And it is a thing. I mean, you know, growing up in New York, it's kind of in us.
We're in on the grind.
But
no, but it really did make it. And as a producer, I really have to say, like, most of the partnerships that I got were not necessarily the people that were the most talented in regards to how much they knew and how much, you know, how much of a cinephile they were or the facts that they knew about, you know, from this guy and that guy. It was the people that literally never stopped. They were like, they committed to something and they saw it through to the end. And I'm like, that's who I want to work with. I want to work with you. I know that we're going to make it.
And as a producer, we're going to go to our misconception number 4, that if you have a producer attached, you're basically greenlit. And oh man, I bit hard on this early in my career. I can't name names. I had to this day, this person is probably top 3 independent film producer in the business. Like top 3. If this person wants to make a movie, he will get it made. I optioned a screenplay to this company. I get a phone call from this individual, and he's like, John, I just want to say, like, I'm going to make your movie. And I'm like a year and a half moving into LA. I'm like, this is like gold. And the movie never got made. So it just, again, like, yes.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing to have a producer attached.
I mean, that means you hustled. You did right.
Well, not even that part, but
don't let go of that moment.
Yeah, it's a misconception that just because a producer, or any producer's attached, that your movie's going to be greenlit. That's not the case.
Not only that, the good thing about getting a producer attached is knowing that your script is good enough to make it. It's, in a way, it's a boost. But I think it's really important for communication.
Yeah.
And if a producer can't communicate what are the actual lines, what are, the expectation lines, it's really important you continue to hustle. Don't stop. Find other partnerships. And not only that, that also helps the other producer be like, oh, wow, there's other people interested. Maybe I should actually keep this in my front.
And setting expectation, like, producers are human. Like, there's very few people in Hollywood that can make every movie they want to make, right? So if you have a producer attached, yes, it's awesome. Like, congrats. Pray, light candles, whatever it is you do. But I hear this all the time, making a movie is a miracle. People say this all the time, who make movies consistently. Like, every time a movie gets made,
it really is
I'm shocked. It's a miracle. So it really is. And if you have a movie made, that's amazing. But just because a producer is attached, your movie is not greenlit. Unless it's like...
It's really just, again, it's part of... Okay. It's part of the process. That's the thing, is that it's really not the end. It's still in the beginning line. Remember that. It's the beginning of the line. So the beginning of the line means so many things can change and happen and shake and make. So be on top of it. Stay very vigilant of the situation. It's important. Okay, let's go into the next one, which is also kind of goes into it.
So, I love our 5th misconception, success versus bullshitters.
Oh, yeah. And I love this one so much. Every time I almost speak to anybody, they're like, how do you deal with the bullshitters of Hollywood? Everyone in Hollywood is bullshitter.
So the misconception is that everyone in Hollywood is a bullshitter.
Yeah. And first of all, everyone in life is a bullshitter. Let's start with that. Let's go. But... The reason why it's such a misconception is because part of making it at all in this industry is all about relationships. You must have collaborations and relationships. You will not make it without it. It doesn't matter how much money that you have. Your reputation is everything. Lose a reputation, you fall. The thing about bullshitters is that they sit in the middle, right? So you have anyone that I've ever met on top, and you can probably say the same thing. You're like, they're the nicest person I've ever met. I've only heard good things and only had a great experience, which means these are real good people who worked really, really hard to get where they are, and they continuously maintain the relationship. They know they can fall at any moment. The relationships matter to them. And it's the same with people on the bottom. They're working really hard to build the relationships. The problem is that middle ground where there's those bullshitters. Listen, unfortunately, every business, we've got the bullshitters who can see your weakness, see that you need something, promise something that they can't deliver, and you feel so because you feel like somebody who you gave your heart to now you over. But that's not the case. Do they ruin it for everyone? Sure. But it's a misconception. Success is meaningful.
It is. And I will say every business has BSers, but Hollywood's not full of BSers. Like, there are a ton of talented people who are committed to making great movies and want to, like, at every point, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, or feel, act like you've been there. Like, I played sports, so there was like, act like you've been on the big stage. And like, I get that, but there aren't a ton of bullshitters. There are, but you got to stay committed to it and like grind. Like
you don't get deterred by the bullshitters. Here's the thing: the bullshitters, they're in a talented business, so they're very talented. They're good at what they do. They know how to mimic. They know how to act. It's its own art form. They are the art of bullshitting. But I think it's like, don't get deterred by that, because the people on the top are not bullshitters. They are not bullshitters at all. And when you know that, like, okay, I met the bullshitter. Let me find the one that's not the bullshitter.
Yeah, and you typically see that. You'll see the bullshitter on the lower level. But when you get up there and you're meeting with real decision makers, these are really smart.
Really smart, kind,
like committed to film. Like, it's fantastic. Again, not everyone, but the misconception that we're trying to put to bed is that Hollywood is not full of bullshitters.
At least the successful ones.
Exactly.
All right. So let's move on to the next one. I like this one actually a lot. This is art versus message. I really like this one because
So the misconception here is that
clarify.
you need a message in your movie, right? You always hear all the time the why now, like at least that's what I hear.
Yeah, no, literally every pitch is like why this is so important. This is how is it relevant? And you do need it. You need the message, but the art needs to outperform.
Yeah.
The art needs to drive the message. The art needs to be amazing. I mean, look at films like Casablanca.
Yeah.
Let's just say, or The Godfather.
Sure.
You don't even know there's a message.
Yeah, it's in
all you can see is the art and the performance, and it's so beautiful.
There was a great article that came out. I want to post a link here when we find it because it's really worth reading. It's about how art today is so literal, like it's so on the nose about a message, and the subtlety of meaning has been lost. Like it's now what you're writing and shooting has got to be like so in your face, like this, it's about this.
Yeah.
And we've missed, and I do miss that because I don't want to be hit over the head with the message.
Of course, and it's not timeless when it's about just like that, you know? Give me a good story. I'll find, the message will be there.
Yeah. And I understand you want, and this is more of the screenwriting side, you want to write from a place of theme, right? The theme, the meaning, whatever. But like you really got to let the art, the character drive it. And then I think innately the theme or the meaning will organically blossom.
Absolutely.
But if you're pushing that as your engine, it's going to be, you're going to telegraph it. It's going to be too obvious. And therefore I think people get allergic to that. I think you see that a lot in box office numbers today is why certain films do bomb is because there is such a forward message.
Yeah. The message is way too forward, but then, you know, and then there's also the films where, again, the messaging is important and the art, you know, needs to kind of drive it. But then you have like films that I find way too often where the messaging is also very lazy.
Yeah.
It's very lazy and very flat, right? So you'll have like some parts of the film, and
Would you say like it's too surface level?
Right?
It's not deep, not deep enough?
Yeah, it doesn't, but it also doesn't give you enough context, right? So like, I'm going to like, I feel bad I'm going to bring like Marvel in there, but the reason why is because the art is so amazing and the scripts are so talented and some of the messaging is brilliant, right? You'll have like a messaging like, you know, in order to destroy, you know, the democracy is that you cannot come from, you know, has to come from within. You cannot, they're too strong to come from, you know, they can't see us coming. You have to make them fight within itself. And you're like, yeah, that's true. That is the reality. But then they'll have like, oh, he was bad. Let's forgive him because he said sorry. And you're like, okay. I mean, since when do we just, I mean, forgiveness is good, but I mean, there needs to be a little bit of context and consequences.
Or a little deeper in that,
Yeah, where then you apply it to life and you see everybody walking around being like, well, I said sorry. You're like, yeah, but that's not real. And it's almost as if people adapt the meaning more meaningful than it is.
Sure.
And it's important, I think, not to be lazy with the meaning as well.
Yeah, and I really love that because, again, I think you should write, my opinion, you know.
Oh, this is all our opinions, by the way. Let's make it clear.
Write your story from a place of like character. And I really think, or plot, I really do feel that when you are trying to write and breathe life into these characters, they're going to speak for themselves and there will be some natural subconscious meaning that comes out of it, you know, and like a lot of obviously art's interpretation, right? But when you are so forward about it, so obtuse in your path of trying to push a meaning down, like I get turned off by
Absolutely. Don't be too forward and don't be too lazy.
Take it on an adventure. I want to be told a story. I don't want to be told a lesson.
Well, that actually leads very well into kind of, well, we were talking about like before about space versus engagement, which isn't really, it kind of like just goes into it. It's not really a misconception at all, but it's just a good like topic in general to talk about the fact that like it's very important to engage, make sure that the audience is very engaged in the messaging. Like, let them come to their own conclusion. Don't spoon feed them. There's a lot of spoon feeding.
See, that's great.
Way too much spoon feeding.
That's great. And it goes into what we've been saying. But again, I love that you bring up the fact of let the audience, you know, again, you look at a piece of art. I do this all the time. I'm not art literate. But when I go with people who are way smarter than I do to a museum and they're like, oh, look on the wall here. Like, I love the art that lets me interpret it.
Yes.
Right? Like, I want to know what the meaning is. Like, I want to
you want to find it. You want to
that conclusion.
It's so beautiful that you're enjoying it on your own, and you get to interpret on yourself. Well, don't over spoon feed me.
Look at the the Bible or certain ancient religious texts. No, I mean like it's up for interpretation. Like let the author sometimes just have. They're saying whatever they have to say.
That is true. I have so many things to say, and I really won't go there.
I want you to laugh.
No, I love that. But it is true. I mean, listen, that is, as we evolve, we need to. It's important to reinterpret things because you need to adapt to it, which is great.
And I think a movie will become, or your story will be more timeless that way if you leave it to the audience interpretation.
Absolutely.
Because it'll be able to adapt through time. But if you're talking about and again, I'm not saying that you can't write a movie about a specific moment. Now, look, the times we're living in is very interesting.
It is, but in a way, it's the time to be more crafty about it.
Sure.
Because everybody has such opinions.
But if you had, like, let's say there was something that happened here in America that you want to make a story about, like, it's okay to, like, hone in on that time of that moment. But again, if you're pushing the message, I think that's where we're getting.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think there's a way to kind of keep politics and ideologies out of messaging. It is important to do that and keep that open, which is also good to kind of like segue into the fact that aside for just spoon feeding, I think there is also people that I'm saying films and filmmakers that maybe give too much space.
Yeah.
Where there's like, you ever have a story, you just don't understand the story. I don't know why the character is making this face. I don't know. There's too many loose ends. There's like suddenly there's a cliffhanger. Sure. I feel like in horror films that's fine, but other than that, because you're not supposed to have any expectations. Other than that, it's like the two loose ends where now I'm like, I don't even know what's happening, to the point of like, it's kind of like the pendulum of like the spoon feeding. Yeah. Now I'm going to give you just like nothing. So yeah, there is definitely a balance.
Those are films for certain people. I agree. It's not my cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea personally. I think it's important to keep everyone engaged.
So Kai, maybe you can walk us through the misconception of glamour versus grit.
I think the biggest misconception, I guess, at least as a producer, is that when I'm on the glamour part, when I'm actually dressed up and I'm on a red carpet and I'm on a stage, that's my biggest grit moment. That's a time where I work.
That's very cool.
This is my working moment.
So the misconception is that it's all glamour?
No, this is grit, actually. Maybe to someone, maybe I'm wearing a dress while I'm working, sure, and my hair's done. But this is the moment where it makes a very big difference. Who I meet, how I pitch, how I'm, navigating through all of that. And not only that, you also have investors. You have a lot of things that you're dealing with, making sure everything is running through production well. It actually feels like it's a different kind of work and not the work that's creative per se, and the work that I really need to prove myself. Yeah. So I feel like it's a lot of grit. Where I feel is the most glamorous is when I'm in my hoodie and sweats and on set.
Nice.
That's my glamour. That's when we're glamour. This is when we're having a good time. We're just in there in the creative moment. It feels so free. The glamour part is where you feel the most tense and the most like I need to calculate everything I say and move and put myself to work. So that's the misconception for me.
And I guess probably for the 1% of the talent in Hollywood that you see at the Oscars or the Globes in their tuxedos partying, you see Leo with his new meme having a great time with Timothée Chalamet.
And I'm sure you could have a good time.
The 99% of the people there are working. It's like a grind. Like I've been to these events. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't love getting dressed up. I have to be on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be on.
Yeah.
I want to just chill and like
100%.
have my champagne and go watch something. But you got to be on because you got to
be on.
Keep pushing.
The only time I would say that the glamour does have both the grit and glamour is if your specific film won an award and now you get to like kind of celebrate with everyone. So yeah, you're working, but you're also getting to smile and feel good about something that was successful. So there is both, but nevertheless, the glamour never takes away from the grit.
Great.
No matter what.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the next misconception, reacting versus adapting.
Yes. We're going to put this into a good category here because I feel like, especially for nowadays, that's why it is.
And this is very timely.
This is so timely, Matt Damon talking about messaging.
Yeah, Matt Damon just came out with, or he was interviewed talking about Netflix, how Netflix apparently wants the filmmaker to state the plot like 3 or 5 times.
Yeah, because of the
like the people are on their phone.
Yeah, this is actually maybe me reacting to his specific interview. There we go. But I'm going to debunk him here.
Good. Well, I mean, I think he's stating what Netflix is asking, but the misconception is that the industry is moving to adapt to the people with less attention span.
Yeah, let's use Netflix more. As
let's just go after Netflix,
the blanket. Yeah, no, Matt Damon.
But you have an issue with them adapting to...
No, here's the thing about social media where, again, another misconception, I think, at least in my end, is that social media is very fast-paced. That is true. But a lot of it is also, people are gaining a lot of knowledge, and they understand that there's a lot of the content that they get, if it's not interesting for them, it's not because they're dumb. It's actually because they're maybe getting an overload of information. Sure. So if anything, the fast pace doesn't mean that you know less. It could be that you know more, which means if you're actually oversimplifying it and over repetitive, all you're doing is just, you're reacting to what you think is the problem when really you just need to adapt the meaning of your film to be meaningful enough for the generation to take a beat and be like, oh, this is actually really interesting. I want to watch it. Because we all do that when we flip and something is like, hey, actually, let me rewatch this again.
And I do see that so I have quite a large family, and I'm around
a lot of young
different ages.
adults,
But mostly like teenage section, and I see this a lot. And like, there's no debate that the youth have a less of attention span, like
100%.
no doubt. But I think that if they find something interesting, a movie, and I see this, like I put on for 3 teenage girls a few weeks ago, My Cousin Vinny.
Oh,
and they
that's
were all
amazing.
Glued to the TV.
100%.
And it's not like the fast-paced film. It was made in like the early 90s, so it had a very chill pace, but they all loved it.
Absolutely.
And it's because if the acting's good, the writing's good, the directing's, there's a mix, and it's got to be harder now than ever to earn
their engagement, for sure. I mean, listen, we didn't have all of that when we were growing up. So yeah, sure. When a movie came out, we were willing to go through it no matter what.
Yeah.
And even now I'm not willing to go through it, but it doesn't mean my attention adapt to who we are, right? It doesn't mean my attention span can't handle it. It just means it won't handle it if it's not good.
So I think what we're trying to say is don't adapt to the...
Don't react. Don't react to the fact that there's a fast pace, seemingly...
Don't react that there's a less of an attention span. I think you just need to write your best story.
Yeah, adapt to the fact that this is who they are, so become even more engaging.
Exactly.
Make it more interesting. Give them more of a reason to dive in, not less of a reason. Don't repeat your stories. Don't speed food more.
Yeah.
Don't spoon feed, food speed, whatever. Don't use spoons.
Don't
just
use
your hands.
Use your hands.
But either way, yeah, this is where we're going.
I do. I love that. That was great.
Okay. Love it.
All right, our last misconception, top versus bottom.
Okay, I'm not going to say my preference, but to talk about
the
misconception of top versus bottom is that I think that people think like, oh, like I'm starting in the industry, I'm on the bottom, you've done something, you're on the top. And it's like, no. You're always on the bottom. Now, it's not a negative thing. It can feel negative, but it's not. But it's specifically in this industry, every time you succeed in one thing, you're always now on the bottom of something else. Yep. You really, really are. Yep. I never, ever feel like I'm the top of anything. And actually, what's good to remind myself sometimes is to breathe, look back and be like, hey, you've wanted to reach here and you've got here. And now you're just on the next leg of that journey. But wrapping all the way back from the ecosystem does make you feel like you're always, in a way, on the bottom of the new rung, which is still its own success. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But there is no top, there's only a bottom. Like, that's really what this is.
I'm about to get heady, and we're going to get into it for
Let's go heavy-handed here.
So, there are some theories, which I happen to find quite interesting, is that time doesn't exist. Well, and that's a whole other podcast.
Ooh, fun.
Like, time doesn't move in a, past, present, future fashion. It's just one moment. It's like, and there are theories about this, like astrophysicists or theoretical physicists will talk about that the construct of time is not what we believe. So I want to say there is no top, there is no bottom.
Nice. You're just somewhere hovering in the middle.
You just are. You just are where you are. And I think if you can remove that from your mind, I was a victim of this. Like, I got to get up. I had success very early on in my career, and I couldn't sit in that moment at 1 minute of being present and being like, wow, this is where I was like, I got to claw, and you're in the Hollywood grind, and you're like seeing friends get movies made and make the big checks and blah, 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 blah. So I was constantly grinding, and it's like, man, I just wish I could have just sat there and just be.
Right.
And remove the construct of top, bottom, just do you.
I hear you. That's good. I really like that. I'm going to put the construct back.
Good.
But I like that you took it off. The reason why I'm going to put it back is because the reason why I think, at least for myself, is important is because anytime that I feel like, oh, wow, like there's so much still to grind to keep going to the next step, I remind myself that I can reach out to the ladder below me and help someone up, and someone up there can help reach out below them and help me up. And it is a moving system, meaning you're always in the grind. But I think if you see someone who seems up there, but you remember they're also in the grind. They, you might have succeeded something in a movie, you open up a TV series, you have no idea where you're going, what you're doing. You rely on each other a lot, and it's important if you remember that you're all a part of the grind, and where you are, it can be a bottom to something else, a top to somewhere else. It's all.
How about this? This just came to me. What if you viewed it like a carousel, and like the carousels in the parks where everyone has like their own triangle section.
I feel like we're going into a horror movie right now.
No, but think about it. Like, you're on one rung, and then the person to your right is on a rung. And you're always just moving. You're all equal. You're all just on a circle going, and like there again, no top, no bottom. You just all.
Well, you're talking about the horses that move up and down?
No. You know, like the merry-go-round that you spin.
Oh, those are scary.
Those are very scary, but they're all equal. It's like, why did King Arthur have a round table? Because there's no head. Top or bottom. Again, however you want to view it. But again, see, we can disagree.
We're going to disagree here because I do think it's important that you see something on top so that you can visualize yourself getting somewhere above you.
We're trying to offer two ways to view it.
Two ways to view it. I think it's important to see that, but I think when you get there, sometimes you'd be like, wow, now I'm back at the bottom. And that reminds you that where everybody else always sits. So it gives you, I guess for me, it motivates me to never feel like I'm always sitting on the bottom, but that I'm always somewhere new and I have to start.
And when we spoke about this, what my initial gut was that there is no... You'll never, I shouldn't say reach the top, but it's human nature to want more, right?
There's always more.
As you climb up and you get there, you're hungry, like what I was saying in my career, you go hungry. And so some people never are satisfied, and like that's not what you want in the headspace you want to get into. You want to just be in the moment, like honor where you're at.
Yes, honor where you are.
Climb. Yeah, every step is
reflect,
for your growth.
But that's why I debunk there's no top and bottom. You are always climbing. Yeah. There is higher moments. There's rungs that you want to hit. But I think just to know that there's always a grind can be very helpful to understand that like there's no just one beginning. There's always new beginnings to continue going. And by the way, specifically in this industry, because you could fall if you don't continue. You actually can't stay stationary. Yeah. You should enjoy the moments. You should look back and reflect on your accomplishments. But if you let go, oh my God, in this industry, you're out. Boom, just like that.
It's like the dude who just climbed that skyscraper in Korea.
Oh my God,
that was nuts.
That's scary. That was really nuts. That is very scary. But yeah, you have to always maintain your spot because there's always someone else that wants it. You have to make sure to maintain it and continue growing in order for you to do well in this industry. But just remember, even though you started somewhere, everyone is continuously starting somewhere on the bottom.
We are done with our list, but I have a few more questions for the sage. That Kaya Amor is. Kaya, what have you learned as a producer in the past several months to a year that you're taking with you into 2026? What's something that you learned? There's
so many things that I can speak about. There's only lessons in my life, I feel like. Yeah. Everything is just a lesson. In a good way. Yeah. I'm saying this is just one big lesson.
You've been on a lot of sets over the past few years. What is something unique that you find that you bring to the set and to the production?
Okay, that's a good question. I hope it's not unique to me, but I don't know if this is something that other people do. But
however you want to answer.
But it's really important for me that I know every single person who's on set. Every single person.
That's great. I love that.
No, it's very, very important for me. I ask everyone what their name is, what do they do. Good. I go into it with everybody. There is not a single person that I want on set that I haven't personally met. Know that I know that they are there and care that they are taken care of in a good way. So it's very important for me. And not only that, it's a family. And it's really important that everybody feels good because I want them to do their best. So I think that if people feel like, they're appreciated and that they're looked out for and cared for, I feel like they bring more. And I feel it. I do. I really feel like people come in and excited to be there because, everybody is a family and it doesn't feel like, oh, the boss is here, let's all scram. So it's very important that everybody knows that I really care about that.
What is something you've seen lately that blew your mind?
Physically or spiritually?
Film,
blew my mind.
Movie or TV? Something that you watched.
Honestly, I rewatched The Godfather. I did the whole thing again. I told you this the other day. I just said it's kind of my cleanser. Mm-hmm. I know this sounds weird.
One or two.
I watched 1, 2, and 3.
No, but which are you a 1?
Oh, I'm a 1. I'm a 1. I'm a 1. Okay, yeah, we're leaving 3 out. That is true. That was like a full closure. I'm 1, definitely. 2 is amazing.
Yeah, no question.
But 1 is my journey. this is what it is. It's a 2.5-hour film that engaged me so much that I'm willing to go back into it and get engaged again.
Like 1972, I think. You know, so you're not talking modern where it's like snap, but it
no, there's good films out there. There's a lot of there's a lot of amazing things, but the reason why
a movie that's 40 plus years old,
the reason it reminds me why I'm in the business. It reminds me, it gives me inspiration of like, oh, that's a good movie. I want to watch more of this. This is good acting. It just drips from all sides of it oozes just everything that a movie is supposed to be. So yeah, that's my cleanse.
And my last question, and speaking of drip, is, you know, your fashion just always blows me away.
Drip.
Where do you shop?
Oh, okay. This is I shop. I just go to people's homes, steal their clothes, put it on, run. No, what I do is I don't go shopping physically in the sense of like, let me go shopping today. I have very like, oh, I see it, I want it, I'm taking it kind of vibe.
You thrift,
everything.
Stores,
everything.
Online.
There's nothing that is unlimited to me. It's just that if I'm feeling it, I see it, I find it, I go for it. Also, I don't ever shop for anything particularly.
Because you're so fashionable.
Thank you.
And I get very jealous.
You get jelly.
I do.
You can take my shirt.
I wish I had
my shirt.
Not only the confidence to wear stuff like that, but the map on how to find items like you do.
Well, how about reverse it? Because sometimes I'll see something that passes through my way. We have like Tom here, amazing Tom, who's have done like amazing photography for fashion, and I'll see like something out of like a book and I'll be like, I want that. Like, how do I find something similar to that? And I'll just be like, okay, let's find something weird in that kind of context.
If you come across a men's medium or pants 3230,
can I have feathers?
I'm your guy. Okay.
Done.
Throw away some stuff. Kaya,
all right, this is so fun.
Let's do this
John,
again.
You're amazing. He's a great screenwriter. Don't want to say otherwise.
But everyone, thank you so much for joining here at Kinolime. We're out. Thank y'all.
We're out.
If you're a screenwriter or filmmaker, you got to listen up, because here at Kinolime, we're opening up our 3rd annual feature film 3.0 screenwriting competition, January 23rd to March 15th. That means you, a screenwriter or filmmaker, can get your movie made. How amazing is that? So our submission period opens January 23rd to March 15th. So sharpen your pens, get your fingers ready, get that screenplay polished and formatted and submitted to Kinolime for our open competition. If you don't know about us, Kinolime, this is what we do here. We open a screenwriting competition yearly where anyone from around the world, as long as it's in English and formatted correctly, can submit their screenplay into our competition. Readers, film lovers from all around the world read your work and vote on it. And if you get the most votes at the end, your screenplay will get made into a movie here at Kinolime. Just to give you some updates, our first competition winner, The Wave, and last year's competition winner, Mob Mentality, are going into production in 2026. Yes, you heard that right. We're making 2 movies from the past 2 winners this year. That means you could, if you win this year, we're going to make your movie next year, or maybe the year after, depending on how production goes. But at the end of the day, if you want your dreams to come true, if you want your screenplay to be turned into a film, go to kinolime.com right now, set up an account, find out all the information, ask questions. We're here for you. Get your submission ready between January 23rd and March 15th, and we cannot wait. I cannot wait to read your work.